So that will conclude the presentation of projects from the first year of the Terraforming think tank at Strelka. Thank you very much to the researchers who have, through their tenacity and commitment, have created an extraordinary body of work as part of this collaboration. Thank you as well to the Strelka team and staff, without whom none of this would be possible. I think we have created, in my mind, an extraordinary body of work in a short period of time, one that will stimulate several, it already has, stimulate several interesting discussions over the months to come. I think it's an excellent foundation for the work that we'll develop over the next couple of years. I'd like to conclude with a couple closing remarks on the program and indeed where we see it heading in the future, over the next couple of years at least. To my mind, the terraforming is probably a more difficult and for that reason more important research program than the new normal was. I certainly think more is at stake. And as I think you've seen over the last in the work, our program is positioned deliberately and unapologetically in contrast with the trend and wave of design populism, and indeed thereby against the reactionary populism on anywhere on the political stage as well, and which we would define, at least within the context of our discipline, as something like the self-satisfied common sense that design and designation must be guided above all by simplicity and obviousness and usability, plain talk, even if, or especially if, at the expense of complexity, nuance, effectiveness, ambiguity, expertise, planning, and a truly and genuinely planetary scope. That is, as I argue, a kind of local variant of the same crisis of decision and authority that clears the ground for demagoguery anywhere. I hope that the work we've seen over the last couple of days has shown, among other things, that the difficulty is worth it. Looking forward, the program is and remains one of speculative urban futures, but is so because each of those terms is undecided and therefore alive. The speculative, as we refer to it, doesn't refer to sort of something that is whimsically creative and open without constraints or limitation, but rather to something, in a certain sense, the opposite of this, something that is so functional and necessary, even if also extremely unlikely, that it makes the conventional schemes, however likely they actually are to be repeated, seem insane by comparison. And I think this is, in fact, all of our general predicament. Not only is business as usual psychotic, but the normal gestures and genres of concerned response are deeply neurotic and sometimes even delusional. Other ways are needed. Next, the urban, as we have in this phrase of speculative urban futures, belongs to more than just planners and developers. Cities that take shape as the historical layers of collapsed real estate schemes may be the norm, but the pressing reality should force a redefinition of what we mean by urban form as such. Cities are never separate from ecologies, and they are ecologies, and ecologies are part of the urban question, and both must be composed as such. So, last word. The terraforming as an agenda, as an intellectual agenda, is respectful of priceless, genuine alienations. The plan for an alternative artificial planetarity is one that is geographic, because it is geopolitical, because it is geoeconomical, and because it is geotechnological. That is, we define we would want to offer a definition of planetary that is inclusive of all of its artificiality, rather than what is left over after subtracting all of that from some metaphysical ledger, as others would have it, as others who offer alternative definitions of planetary would have it. That condition, the one that is actually conclusive and predicated on the artificial, is the condition by which anthropogenic design takes place, by which anthropogenic response to climate change can be given traction. And it is also the name of what that design must properly bring about. It's both at once. That said, planetary cannot be imagined in opposition to plurality or heterogenesis, especially as the latter is sometimes over-associated with the grounded, the local, the vernacular, and a valorized vernacular, and unique experiences of historical pasts. That is, while each of us may look back upon separate pasts that indeed set the terms of our relations, we will inhabit conjoined futures. And that's the binding that's the binding of a universal history, that conjoining, if you like, that is of most concern, ultimately. It's one that would not be formulated by the local idioms of Europe or America or Russia or China, nor by a kind of viewpoint collage of reified traditions and perspectives, but by the exceedingly and irreducibly difficult coordination of a common planetary interior. So once more, it's not that the planetary scale, computation, mediation, astronomy, observation, so forth, brought the disappearance of the outside, caused the disappearance of the outside. Rather, it revealed, again, that there never was an outside to begin with. So I'll leave you with that. Thanks very much for joining us over the next couple of days. We look forward to hearing from you. Invite your participation in the program in the coming years. And once more, invite you to go a bit deeper into our thoughts on this with the book. So once again, thank you.